The December 5th, 2023 Summers County Board of Education regular meeting. Let the minutes reflect that all five members are present. And Mr. Brogan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item 3, approval of agenda and adjustments. Let's see, I'm just making sure we get.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as read.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the agenda as read. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the agenda has been approved as read. Presentation, we have Christian Reeves with Garland Company.
I'll turn it over to Mr. Metter to give a quick introduction before Christian talks. Christian has no problem jumping in and talking, I know that, but I want to give you a proper introduction by Mr. Metter.
So this is Christian, we're with the Garland Company, and I'll let him explain what the Garland Company is, but he has been in the process of assessing a lot of our roofs in the county, the ones that we own, and we've been focusing on the CTE building. We all know that it's needing some attention, so I'll let Christian take it from here.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Nice to meet you guys again. I'm Christian Reeves, a company called Garland. We are a full-service roofing manufacturer. So a quick rundown what we do. I really like to help with capital planning, steps moving forward to facilitate contractor involvement. I know, Summers County, Greenbrier County, it's hard to get contractors out to look at some roofs. So that's where I step in, facilitate the design. We kind of get into procurement later as well, but I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. I've got other things to do. Like Chad said, I've been helping to inspect some facilities throughout the county. This presentation is specifically geared toward the annex at the CTE, specifically these 5 sections here that are outlined. This, let's see, so basically this is kind of a general report that I put together every roof that I look at. It's got section analysis, core analysis, basically what your roof is made out of, recommendations of what we should do, when to do it, and how to do it. For the most part, the annex, again, I've sectioned it out into 5 different sections, A, B, C, and D, which are the rubber roofs that you can see, the black, are all in relatively good condition. Section E, the rock ballasted roof, is pretty critical. Not to make any kind of alarm, but as you can see in some of these pictures here, we have the edges of these roofs, they're completely pulled away from the perimeter. Water is getting down into the insulation, it's getting down into the structure. I'm not sure how many active leaks are actually inside, but the entire roof is soaked as far as insulation goes. This is going to have to be slated soon for replacement. It's too far gone to look at restorations or re-roofs, so it's going to have to get torn down to the deck. How we came up with this, we perform thermal scans on each roof that we do to get the most information as we can. And what these thermal scans do, they take a thermal camera over the entire surface, pinpoint what's wet and what's not. And with that, we know where the leaks are coming from. We get contractors out to get these watertight. My goals are to get your current roofs in as good a condition as possible and not look at replacements. So work with what we got. This is a general scope of work for the 4 rubber sections. Let's see here. Try to do this. So what I've talked with David and Chad about on these sections, I would be looking years from now at coating. Instead of doing a complete tear off, we can keep the existing membrane on here as long as we get it watertight now, which we've done the scans, we know where the leaks are coming from, and I'm getting Chad budget numbers for repairs. But as long as you get these repairs done soon, preferably before winter, we can stove this off for at least 4 or 5 years to look at restoration coatings, which are still a 20-year warranty, just like any other roofing system is going to be. It's just being proactive. Honestly, that's just the name of the game, is to get these leaks fixed now. For section E, I'd ask not to really look at the budget numbers. We just kind of threw something together for the reports. Whenever it comes down to it, we can actually hone these in, but they're going to be pretty close. Section E is what is going to need to be completely torn off and replaced. The roof's just too far gone. So what we are suggesting going back with is a 2-ply system with a flood and gravel. It's a 30-year roof. There's no seams or laps in this, which is why your roof's failed currently. The seams just let go. These are solid roofs, can withstand travel or foot traffic. I really don't want to dive too far into the nitty gritty. Do you all have any questions as far as like any of the systems or kind of what we're talking about? I don't really want to glaze over everybody with.
Looks like we're getting ready to get rid of a lot of Riverstone. You want to take some of that and trade? That'd be cool.
I do, well, there's actually.
We did talk about that to save money.
Yeah, we did talk.
We did for landscaping, but that doesn't really save a whole lot, but it does save a little.
Marginal. I mean, y'all can just put it in a pile and let people come get it whenever they choose. Yeah, the river rock's not bad. I mean, this system, it's got pea gravel, but what it is, it's flooded with asphalt on top of it, so it's not loose, it doesn't move around. This is more for UV penetration or protection. It's just the best system that you can put on here, being conscious of money, to get a 30-year roof. I think it's out of sight, out of mind at that point. This is what your thermal scans look like. This is what we've done for the annex. You get these outline reports. I was just up there about an hour ago. They go through mark what's wet, and it's marked on a little CAD drawing, as you can see here in orange. What this does, any contractor that comes out, we get these quotes for, they're not going to be guessing where the leaks are. It's more efficient at the time. So they'll just reference these to go fix the leaks, get a water type. And with that, I said, as long as it's not leaking, we can extend these roofs for years on it. We just got to maintain them. So, I mean, especially with capital funds now, you can't use SBA money for roofs or HVAC anymore. So it's going to be more important to start budgeting for these things year over year rather than being reactive whenever they fail. Let's see here, some more. This is a quick ROI. Shot through a calculator of a standard 2-ply system versus a single-ply for what you have. And you're looking about $100,000 net savings to cover the cost of the lifetime of the roofs. But what I really want you to look at is the system illustration versus what you have on the left is what's over all of your schools. On the right is what I'm recommending, and we're almost 5 times as thick protection. We don't puncture with hail, foot traffic. Again, it's just single-ply roofs, you're lucky to last 12, 15 years. The whole time you're doing maintenance to them. It's better to spend a little bit more upfront to get a better roof that you're not going to have to go back and maintain year over year. We manufacture it all, though. Again, this is just my recommendation on this one section. And what's neat about Garland compared to other manufacturers specifically is we hold the national contract for Omnia Partners, which is a cooperative that allows you to use Omnia itself as a vehicle procurement. So you could go full turnkey with us using the Omnia vehicle, which eliminates, well, for one time, saves money because contractors are going to add tax and mark up the materials that they buy for the job. Whereas if you go through Omnia, you buy it direct through the manufacturer, no tax, and at the lowest pricing. That just helps secure a little bit more savings. Single source point of contact too, so you're not gonna have to solicit contractors to come out to these jobs to bid. That's all under Garland and Omnia. So essentially, I mean, people can speak to Omnia more than I can, but this is just a turnkey solution where we put budgets out for this roof. You all want to go ahead with it, and within a month, we could have materials and contractors out, bids already done, working, being complete. Do you have any questions so far?
So that's considered single source because you all manufacture that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and all of our roofs, every roof that I design, I like to include other manufacturers in as well. So I don't want to block anyone out. So insulation, fasteners, I always include other manufacturers in as well. So I don't want to, a lot of people look down on sole source. But yeah, Garland will take care of everything start to finish using Omnia.
And do you have other counties you've done this with?
Yes, that's what I was going to talk to you about. We're at the end. So Mason and Jackson County use Garland solely through the Omnia contract for all their schools. Raleigh County right now just had a pre-bid last month for Woodrow Wilson in Coal City. We're doing material only through Omnia, which is they just buy the materials, has 2 separate POs, then I'm still bidding out the work. Putnam, Lincoln, Boone, we've got a lot of counties around the state that use us specifically, but Mason and Jackson are going to be the 2 if you all were more interested in hearing someone else that I could get references for. But again, Raleigh County is using it now. We've done a couple projects without it. They want to start using it. It's just easier. It says saves money, saves time. It's a lot easier process. So, oddly enough, Pipestem Resort, we're doing the roof at the lodge. We're supposed to do it in December, but contractors drag their feet. So this spring, they're using our Omnia contract through state procurement to replace that roof. So we've got a lot of projects going on local to you all. And it's a shame, sorry, no one from Garland came to Stokes County, years ago. Well, I'm here just to kind of help out. Again, I'm not trying to push anything on you all. I just want to present the facts of what's going on. I think just being a little bit proactive on the annex, you save a lot of money going forward. But there is one section that's actively leaking. It's going to get worse, especially if we have a bad winter. I mean, it's already torn apart from the sides, so there's got to be some action soon to remedy that. And unfortunately, that part's too far gone for repair. So.
I think we kind of knew that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's been that way for a while. But like I said, the other sections, we get them watertight. I'll get Chad some quotes from contractors. We can extend that out for a while. And that's my goal, is just to help you all get a better understanding of what you got going on.
Do you provide those contractors a plan on how to make those areas watertight, or do you give them the thermal images and let them come up with the plan?
It depends on which one we're
Okay.
using. Some of my bigger ones, Tri-State, Murray, Tecta, we've done so much work together. They know what I expect. If we have some new contractors, anybody that you prefer to bring in, like I will usually come on site during the repairs, make sure it goes down properly. Every repair I do gets before and after pictures, so everybody as transparent as possible. But yeah, for the most part, like the roof designs, I write the specs, I design the roofs. So from start to finish, I've got some sort of involvement. Again, that's kind of the sole source liability too, because if something goes wrong, you're not pointing fingers everywhere. It's probably my fault at the end of the day. So yeah, I will monitor all the repairs.
Our intention, if I can interject, our intention is to assess all the roofs that we own and then have some sort of a booklet, if you will, for you guys to review. That way we can better, I guess, prepare for the future.
Yeah.
Instead of being so reactive, try to be proactive as much as we can.
Right.
Yeah, and Chad, thank you. That's 5 to 10 year plan is what I like to do. I like to call them books on a shelf. So I give you all physical copies, digital copies, but we could review every 6 months or a year. But once we look at all of your facilities, there'll be a master plan, till 2035, whatever you all like. And then, like I said, year over year, we just review it, see what's coming up, what we can do to stave it off, look at potential repairs, what we can push back. It's a living document for you guys.
Sure.
So,
The biggest concern that's going on through my mind is when I walked on the roof with Christian, and we were talking about how much weight is on that roof. And if it's so saturated, I don't want people to think the kids and people aren't safe, but there's weight on there, and it's not good to have that kind of weight sitting on an old system. And so we need to look at
Yep.
getting that.
The stone won't be back with your roof?
it'll be pea gravel. But what's going on is majority of your weight right now is the river rock. I mean, it's rock this big.
It's
That's
pretty big size
6
rock.
inches big. But your insulation acts like a sponge. And as long as it's been leaking and as wet as it is, you've got thousands of pounds of weight of water that's just soaked into the insulation. What that's doing is just sitting on the deck as well. So the longer you let it go, moisture sits on any kind of concrete or metal, you're going to create more expensive problems down the road. If you're looking at partial deck replacement, a unit cost for deck replacement, I mean, the price goes up quickly after that.
So the core cut that you took out, was that on section E?
No, that's not. I didn't take a core cut on section E because you can look down into it.
Okay.
Honestly, once we get a little bit further, I'll take this.
Skylight that we don't need.
So I know it's hard to answer this question
Yeah.
without removing that layer, but what do you think the deck looks like under there?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a possibility you remove it and we may find some structural issues with the deck.
I've been doing this a while. I've not come across any decks that
Okay.
I've been like, oh, wow, like there shouldn't be a roof on this.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of decks that we've had to cut out areas and
Okay.
replace. But you won't know that from a core cut anyways. That's why we put the unit cost in, because once you tear it off completely, you'll see everything.
Mhm.
But the conditions of like the sister roofs, I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Okay.
I hope not, because the other ones had a vapor barrier over top of the deck, which is going to help from the water sitting on it.
Mhm.
But still, like I said, there's a lot of weight, there's a lot of moisture, and I would just be concerned, for as long as it's been leaking, organic growth
Mhm.
kind of inside the structure, because as bad as that is, there's bound to be some. Just being honest with you, I don't want to scare anybody, but with leaks that bad and that big, I'll scroll back up.
That's a pretty big gap in there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the upper right picture is me peeling it back, and that's the substrate underneath, and you can see how wet it is.
Mhm.
And it was bone dry that day, so it's any kind of environment like that's going to have organic growth. To what extent, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of weight, there's water getting in. It's just a hazard, honestly, at this point. That's why I think it'd be best to really start looking into having this replaced as soon as possible. And the rest are fine. But section E is pretty bad.
I agree, we definitely have to learn from our mistakes. We basically just lost the school over here because letting them go too long.
Yeah, I mean, roofs are always an afterthought and until they're leaking. But once you can physically see a leak, they've been wet for a while. It takes a long time to get through insulation and the decking. Again, that's for the master plan is preventative maintenance. There's probably a lot of catching up to do,
Yes.
which is that's statewide, honestly. I think it's just a good start. Like I said, we've got a good plan here for the annex. We've already done the thermal scans. Get a crew out here to patch the leaks, and then we'll move on. And so we'll look at whatever facilities anybody wants, but until you all know the condition, we don't really know what's going on with them. So that's my plan.
Two things.
Yeah.
So you started off by saying with the costs estimated being if we can get in before winter. Well, winter starts in 2 weeks, right? Or a week and a half.
Right. Oh, and are you talking about the cost of the budgets right there that I've placed?
Yeah.
So those are budgets
Well,
for,
and what, I mean, just what you said.
yeah, I probably misspoke. Those budgets I put in the report are for the work to do the restoration coatings, in a couple of years, and to do the replacement for section E. That would be next year, 100%. What I meant to say is before winter, I would have crew come out to fix the leaks, to do the leak repairs. It's minimal on the annex. It would take a day to have them out. And that's what I meant. Within the next couple of weeks, I would look to have a crew out before you start getting snow loads and everything else.
Is that for A through D?
Yes.
So E, there's
Yeah.
nothing we can do.
No, with the ballast system, you're looking at thousands of dollars to even start looking at fixing E. It's never going to be fixed. It's still going to leak. So I wouldn't even waste money on it, if I'm being honest.
Christian, so for you've worked on one quote, you're
Yeah.
working on a second one now to patch the three wet areas. We're looking somewhere between like 5,000 and 7,000 to fix those three areas.
And that's
Right.
A through
The
D.
winter project would be what we're looking at, right?
Yeah, I'm working on other quotes too, because I want you all to have options. I don't want to just stick with one contractor. So once I have all of them, I'll send them over. You all can take your pick. I think we'll be able to come in lower, a lot lower. But I'll get the quotes out to you guys. But I do think that's important to try to knock out soon.
And then the second thing is that you mentioned that the SBA is no longer paying for roof repairs, and I believe you had applied or
I did.
reached out to the
They,
SBA.
they don't, they don't really do roof repairs. They like doing stuff that has more impact on the county, which is newer buildings or renovations, but anything with roofs, they don't take priority. Now, do they fix roofs? Yes. One thing that I was told by Mark Miller, who we've been working with, he said, it would be good if you would add other items to it to make it go up the list.
A package.
But when you look at a package, it's almost like, I don't need this other stuff. I'm just going, I really need a roof. I don't know what else to package right now because we're already working on an addition to a middle school. So the only thing I could think of for packaging is maybe a safe schools entrance on the high school side, because that is technically not a safe school entrance. It's not a man trap on it. Even though people get buzzed in, once you get in the building, you can go wherever you would like to. It's not a man trap, if you will. But we filled out all that paperwork for legislation, and no, every county had to fill out, you have man traps, yes or no. So I think legislation is looking at maybe funding that. So when he said that about roofing, they're not a priority. They get pushed down. But they will fund them, but they don't look at those as a priority. I hate to say that, but that's just the reality of it.
And they're ever changing too. It's the laws this year. They started out capital projects, won't allow as far as roofing and HVAC. Now they're starting to allow. So I mean, it's kind of a mess.
I was going to ask you about the HVAC, because they did this out considerably with the HVAC about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's grouped in the same system. So.
And when
that's-
COVID first started with the money that we were getting, the first 30 days we were told you can do roofing. And then the federal government told all the state governments, we're not doing roofing projects. That would be a big help to a lot of school systems if they would have allowed us to do roofing, because HVAC and roofing kind of go hand in hand in my book,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, there's a big audit that happened of the COVID funds and big capital projects recently that, you all were smart about it, and Greenbrier was too, but there's a lot that just threw the money.
Oh, yeah.
Big projects. Not a good look right now. Anything else, guys, that you have questions on or
What would
concerns?
be the next steps?
Next steps would be, I will get the quotes to Chad this week, have a crew come out, fix the leaks, and after the leaks are fixed, and it's up to you all as far as when you would want to look into replacing section E. Once like I said, I have budget numbers, but we'll sit down, we'll go over a tight budget, to help you guys out. And once you get to go ahead, and what I will say is the earlier that you can budget it and have contracts pre-bid, the more you'll save. Because this is a season where they do all their scheduling for next summer.
Right.
So if you can do it soon, it'd be best. If you wait till the spring, they're going to surcharge it to fit you into their schedule that they already have. That would be my recommendation for next steps. Fix the leaks, sit down, determine when you want to look at replacing this roof, and then we'll set a budget. Then it's whatever you all want to do.
Honestly, this is really not an option. Do you foresee any possibility of a grant from anywhere or anything of that nature?
The only, I did sit down with Senator Woodrum yesterday, and we were talking about, and this is a Hail Mary right now, but there is a solar project that they are funding to put solar panels on roofs. But I don't know what that means, if that means new roof systems or retrofit, because this is more of a, that would be the only one I know of right now that I sat down and talked with Senator Woodrum in my office yesterday. Having said that, Ms. McClung and I have tried to move money around to say maybe we just don't purchase some school buses in the next couple of years because we're pretty good on our fleet right now. But I also don't want to hurt one entity but with another, but at the same time, we have a serious problem here and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
So let's see his numbers he gets back. Let's kind of see what we can do. And at the next board meeting, we'll see what we can tell you, what we've tried to move money around to make this happen. It's no matter who's on the board right now, you all are stuck holding the bag right now. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but it's not anybody's fault. It's just life happens and things get pushed off. We saw that with the bus garage with underground. Now we're dealing with above ground. Those two items are not what you call eye candy for people. When they walk in a building, they see all the wonderful things in a building, but nobody understands the top and the bottom until it's crisis mode, you know, so.
How long do you think, in your estimate, that Section E would take to tear down? And I mean, I know it's dependent on weather and a lot of factors, but,
Month and a half.
okay.
That'd be great.
It's just, I mean, it's not a big section, and as far as accessibility goes, there's a lot of space out back.
Mhm.
I don't think it'd be too bad at all, weather permitted, of course.
Right.
But you're talking more for summer for that.
Yeah,
Spring into summer?
yeah, I would,
Okay.
I mean, unless, we could do it whenever. The only things I would change, I quoted the price with hot asphalt because of just, most people do it in the summer. Kids aren't going to be there. If kids are going to be there, we just change it to an adhesive that's no odor. So if kids are going to be in the school, you just don't want the smell of asphalt going everywhere. That'd be the only thing to change. But that'd be my recommendation to do it when kids are out. It's just, as far as contractors coming in and out, disposing, dumpsters going everywhere, just less of an hassle. So,
Will the roof last that long?
I mean, it's
It's a legit
Well,
issue.
it's failed right now, honestly. So it gets into, it's been like this for a while. It should have been, this isn't on anybody, but it just should have been replaced a while ago.
This didn't happen yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what's the possibility of having a fall?
having a fall,
Yeah. From
Heavy snows or whatever.
I hope zero. That's nothing that I would be able to know, like I said, unless you can see the entirety of the deck. I'd say almost zero, because nothing is in absolutes.
You're still getting some drainage off of that roof.
Yeah, as
It's
long as
not-
it rains directly in
Yeah,
the gutter.
it's not all going into the deck. It's not, all the
Yeah.
water snow is
A
not.
lot
going
of it
into
is.
the deck. Is it really?
Yeah, probably 40%.
All right.
I think that's why we wanted to have these guys and give us a
Yes.
quote. One thing I liked about them was the thermal imaging. That tells you a lot. What I was concerned was bringing us to the board and saying A, B, C, and D need to rework like E does. The good news is I'm hearing the costs aren't near as high on the other four. The bad news is it's an autopsy now. The patient's dead.
Yeah, well, that scan was a good call, for you guys, just because they said it saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, knowing that you could put these off, for a couple of years, and then you could coat them and restore them rather than doing a full tear off like E. So, I mean, those four sections, you could do in coating in 5 years. I think it was like $600,000 in savings as far as full tear offs.
Is that coating, is that similar to what we've done in Jumping Branch?
No, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, these are the coatings that we're recommending. They are about 3 times as thick as the rubber membrane that's on it. And it's monolithic, so there's no seams, there's no tears, there's no flashing because it all runs up on the penetrations. And it's also reinforced with fiberglass. So, I mean, it's stronger than a 2-ply roof. It's got this 20-year warranty, less than a single-ply roof. It's easier to put on, less landfill mass. There's all kinds of benefits. But you can only do that if you do the scans. You know how wet it is. So we're in a good state. We're in a good spot right now moving forward, I think.
We can have something to you at the next board meeting. I mean, that's all I can tell you at this point. I know it sounds like a great presentation. It's too sobering, isn't it? I mean, it's heavy
It's
information.
what it is. I mean,
Yes.
it's a,
Wouldn't
not an
know what's
option. We
coming.
have to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Christian, I appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
You don't get bonus points for staying longer, so get out of here.
If you have any questions on the solar stuff, I'll get you some info on that.
That's great, because if I can work with legislation to free up some money, I mean, we can work together. You might be a heavy hitter for us to help us out.
I've gone to way too many seminars about it, so I'll help you out.
Good, because I don't know much about it.
I know too much.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
perfect.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Chris.
All right, item 5, public comments.
There are none.
Okay. Item 6, approval of minutes. We have before us the November 28th, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the November 28th minutes.
Second.
Have a motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the November 28th, 2023 minutes. Any discussion?
Yeah. Under 9B, minutes read that Hinton gave the vacant property to Summers County Schools for HAE parking. At that point, they hadn't fully given us the property, correct?
I gotta look at it. Should be more of a Hinton proposed giving.
I don't have the minutes in front of me. Oh, yeah, proposed would be a better word to use there.
So would you like to make a motion to amend Mrs. Farley's motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to amend Mrs. Farley's motion.
Oh, there was no action.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Mrs. Harvey to amend the previous motion made by Mrs. Farley. And just to change the minutes to say Hinton
That the city of Hinton had proposed
proposed. Okay,
giving vacant property.
Do you want to take my copy, Mr. Ward?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Harvey to amend item 9B, amend Ms. Farley's motion regarding item 9B. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. Brogan to amend Ms. Farley's motion for item 9B in the minutes to change Hinton gave vacant property to Hinton proposed giving vacant property. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that we have approved amending Mrs. Farley's motion. So now we have on the floor Mrs. Farley's amended motion, seconded by Mr. McBride. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? So let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that we have approved Mrs. Farley's motion amended by Mrs. Harvey. It's kind of confusing. All right, we have before us now item 7, approval of bills.
Any idea where we are on percentage of completion with Bradford? I know that's kind of a off-the-cuff question. Just wonder if you did.
It depends on the stuff they ripped out and are ripping out to go back to where they are. So I would say it's anywhere from 50 to 70%, depending on how you look at that number. I know that sounds kind of a big gap there, but they've made some mistakes. They've had to adjust, and now they're fixing. We'll find out a little bit more at this next meeting, plus material that is actually being put up now. Like the 6th grade wings, they're actually getting the masonry work done. That's on time. It's the gymnasium. They're filling in and packing in that around they're trying to get it all prepared so they can keep going up. Once they go up, then they're going to pump concrete in for the ground, but they still have to rip out one of those finger walls and a slab there where the dressing rooms are. They still haven't demoed that out. So technically it's in, but it's got to come out, then be replaced. So I know I did a great job of not answering your question, but it's kind of hard to
I
give you.
know, that was kind of putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
A second.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the payment of the bills. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by 5-0 vote that the bills have been approved for payment. Item 8, old business, and this is discussion or possible action regarding purchase of property. This has to do with the area mentioned previously. City of Hinton is going to pave and then offer to us to purchase for $11,000.
They have actually, you can take about the will be, they have paved, they've had striped it, and as of Monday of this week, 11 parking spots? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's being used, and it's great for our employees to have a nice parking lot for them to use and walk over to the school now, so. Worked out really well. Now we're just waiting on their attorney to draw up the paperwork, and then we'll go from there. We can give it to our attorneys to look at, but they've already zoned it from a house that used to be there to a parking lot area. The city can do that, so that makes it nice. So we're just ready for the paperwork to take it off their hands.
Okay. So it will be reviewed then based on your comment by our attorney?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
The area where the lot is, I went by there this week to look at it. Chad, do you handle like the snow removal and so forth for the parking lots and?
We do.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a heads up, where that lot is located, my mom lives up that mountain, and in the winter, that corner has always been areas where, when they're clearing the roads, that is a catch-all, that corner is. So just to give you a heads up, snow removal might be a nightmare in the winter, because that's sort of been a catch-all from each area.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Is it snowing here?
No. No action for now, I guess.
Take no action until we have the attorneys review that?
It's up to you guys, but I don't know why the city would do anything that would say.
Anna Ziegler is the
Yeah.
city's attorney.
Mhm.
And she will be handling the process.
Or take action pending review?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. You want to make a motion?
I will make a motion that we move forward with the purchase of the parking area from the city, pending review of the paperwork involved.
I'll second that. So we have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by myself, that we move forward with the purchasing of the property from City of Hinton pending the review of the paperwork by the attorneys. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the property across from Hinton area has been approved for purchase pending review by the attorneys. New business, purchases over $25,000.
There are none tonight.
That's what we like to hear.
Well, you got a roof you're talking
Yeah. B, discussion possible action to approve overnight trip for Summers County School Boys Basketball, Robert Bowling to Ritchie County, December 29th through the 30th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the overnight trip for the basketball.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride. We approve the overnight trip for Summers County Comprehensive High School Boys Basketball. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? The minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the trip for Summers County Boys Basketball has been approved. C, discussion or possible action to approve clinical teacher of record CTR agreement with Concord University.
I can have Mr. Kuhn give you a quick overview on this, but you've done this before in past history, but we just want to give you a quick overview, and if you have any questions. Mr. Kuhn, do you want to kind of give a quick overview?
It's a state-generated agreement. It's been approved by on Concord's side, and we just approved it on our side. Mr. Warble signs upon the board's approval. The clinical teachers of record are those who do their student teaching in a classroom. They're hired by the board for roughly 2/3 of their pay, 60% or so, 60% to 2/3 of their pay. That's a standard agreement.
No changes to the agreement from this year to last year.
No.
Just change
Just
the
dates.
dates.
And the dates, because the agreement is generated by the state board and the state department.
How many CTRs did we have last year?
Last year we had, oh gosh,
Boy, I can't remember on that.
yeah. I think 2, but I could look it up for you.
And do we maintain them?
We maintained, my years are running together, 1 maybe? I had to go back and look at names to get you an accurate answer.
Do we have any this, with the one this spring?
2 so far, and we're looking at 2 from the previous agreement we approved. I think
What's
last
the
week.
likelihood of keeping these 3?
I don't want to ask them. I'm not sure. The market's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
So,
And they're permitted to do this in the classroom with a full-time sub, aren't they? Or is
so
it just,
when they're on the CTR permit, they're on their own.
they're on their own
At
at
the
that
last
point?
semester. Now,
Okay.
you have residency 1 and residency 2.
Mhm.
A residency 1 is the semester prior to student teaching, the student teaching semester, what we all used to call student teaching. So the semester prior, a student, a college student can be in a classroom with a certified teacher, usually a retired teacher if they're in there more full time, or they're there with a regular employee teacher. Once they hit that residency 2, they can be what we used to call a traditional student teacher, where you do it without pay, which is what most of us did, and or they can do it as a clinical teacher of record and be paid for it.
And then, but is there someone that oversees them?
We
Not-
do.
There's nobody else in the classroom, but the university sends a
Concord does.
supervisor
Mhm.
to supervise or to grade them, and then we also provide a mentor. So it's not like the old fashioned student teaching where they were, you have a cooperating teacher alongside the student teacher. It's not like that.
Okay.
And we do get their point of view on what they're seeing for an employer, but then we also try to let them know we'll support them. And we do try to put the full court press to retain them, but like Mr. Kuhn said, it's a free market out there. If you can't get a teaching job, that's pretty bad because there are so many jobs available right now for these things.
Transfer portal.
So many.
I have a motion that we approve the agreement.
Second.
Have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the agreement with Concord University. Any discussion? Not related to this agreement, but I will say that Mr. Kuhn has a picture on the wall at Concord because my daughter was there for a camp and she said, "Why is Mr. Kuhn on the wall over here?"
That's not the reason why we have this agreement.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Famer in our presence here. All right, so any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the agreement with Concord University has been approved. Discussion or possible action regarding approval of policy Roman numeral 4-G-1, substitutes in area of critical need and shortage.
There's something you just gotta do annually.
Yeah. Right now, they'll probably keep increasing all kinds of shortages to have waivers, so there was no comments. Many people really, they kind of know that this is happening, so there wasn't any comments.
I'll make a motion that we approve the policy. Substitutes in areas of critical need and shortage.
We have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, to approve the policy of substitutes in areas of critical needs and shortage. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the policy for substitutes in area of critical need and shortage has been approved. Item E, discussion or possible action to approve the hiring of an outside audit firm.
The one that you have in your packet is Fife Jones. We had 7 firms, but Fife is the only one that applied and put a bid in, and that's all we received out of 7. So we tried, but a net was cast, and that's all applied.
What's their bid compared to last year?
It's up a few $1,000s. What is it? Couple thousand?
A couple hundred less.
It's less?
Yeah.
I think it looked high.
It's 17,640 and last year was March, it was 18,440 last year, so it's 1,000 less.
800.
And the year before was 17,900, so it's less than the last 2 years.
Okay, my years are blending in. I'm used to 14 or 15 grand.
I mean, I guess we don't have a choice.
Well, yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to have someone audit us.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the hiring of this outside audit firm, Fife.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McBride, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the hiring of the outside audit firm of Fife Jones. Any discussion?
And so by having them out now, the hope and anticipation and expectation is that we won't miss our auditing deadline as we did last year.
Correct.
Get the word.
And then I had a conversation with Ms. McClung as well, and so not related to this particular topic, but related to the audit in general, is if we consider in the spring a multi-year versus a single year, there's a high probability we will get more proposals, because a lot of the firms want to know for 2 or 3 years.
Blocking.
Yeah, so that's something we can consider. Yeah.
Asking now for them to be sure within a couple of weeks is really hard for a lot of
I
firms.
got you.
Yeah, so something for us to consider in the spring. And
That's a
I
good
asked
idea.
Ms. McClung to
Should come in a little bit.
remind us of that
It
when
might come in
when it
cheaper.
was time.
because of- Mhm.
So, all right, any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that we have approved the hiring of outside audit firm of Fife Jones. Okay, item F, discussion regarding pay schedule change. I'll let you have this one.
In your folders, there's this red yellow sheet. It's not changing anything to do with anybody's regular pay. It's just a proposal to change the dates for the extra pays, like, overtime pay or bus duty or after school or anything that we pay extra. And the whole reason for this is the turnaround time that Amanda is expected to right now is absolutely crazy. Like, sometimes she gets the paperwork today and payroll has to be ran by 2 p.m. tomorrow. I just can't do that to her long term. I mean, she's had breakdowns and tears because she does not have enough time to get it done. So I'm just allowing her to have a few more days so that her stress isn't there, and that'll allow less errors, more, you know, the more time you have to work something, less errors, less stress.
And this is only for extra.
It's only for extra. It won't change anybody's.
Because I'm sure you're probably gonna have a hard time from some people. Oh, I need it so bad.
Yeah.
But if it's for the extra and they know ahead of time,
Extra. All base pay will stay the same, so it's only the extra duty, extra contract, just extra pay, like overtime and stuff like that. But
Okay.
it's not changing it that much. It's just breaking it down to give a week for her to prepare it versus sometimes 2 days.
I feel like that's reasonable.
It's better efficiency of the business office too.
This would take effect, after the holiday, so like on that pay period 10 through 20 is what we're looking at. So the payroll 10 is for the pay date of 1/12. So we're not changing anything prior to the end of the year. We just thought that the end of the year or beginning of the year was a better natural change than trying to switch it up in the middle.
And we are still within the scope of when an employee has to be paid.
Yeah.
so basically, you're just kind of telling us what you're about to do, not asking if you can, right? I mean, it's not
I mean, you can
actually.
tell me you absolutely don't want to.
No. There's no action on here, so.
It doesn't
I
say.
mean, it doesn't require an
Okay,
action.
that's
If
fine.
you guys are completely against it, I'll
Nope.
take that, but,
Nope, I'm good.
okay.
I'm just one, but I'm good.
Thank you.
Color coding helps too, you can see it.
All right, we now have item 10, personnel. Before us, we have no one listed for resignation retirements. We have employment service. We have change of effective date. We have employment service extracurricular, extra duty extracurricular. We have employment substitute professional. We have employment mentor teachers and employment substitute service.
I'd like to move that we go into executive session. Code 6-9A-4, paragraph 2.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we go into the executive session from the West Virginia Code 6-9A paragraph 2, -4, paragraph 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that we'll go into executive session at 5:54 PM. All right, so executive session ended at 6:34 PM. So we'll call back to order this regular meeting. We have before us personnel. Again, mentioned employment service. Have a change of an effective date. Have service, extra duty, extracurricular, substitute professional, mentor teachers, and substitute service. Do I have a motion?
So before motion, on the custodian 3 at Summers County Comp and Comp Kids, those are
We
not filled.
we have an employee in the testing pre-employment process. We have to get some more documentation.
So those are no.
No name.
Same
Done
thing.
today.
Yeah, they're all blanks. They'll be on next agenda.
And then the secretary 2, we've got an effective date of TBD.
Yes.
So what's,
I'll post that job tomorrow and then we'll get a replacement. Is that what you're asking?
And the other jobs that are listed that, well, never mind. I see the effective date. I was looking off to the right, but they're up at the top, so we're good.
I do that too.
All right. We have before us the personnel items. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the recommendations in regard to the aforementioned personnel items.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the personnel recommendations. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 4-1 vote that the personnel items have been approved. Item 11, superintendent's report.
I know we just met a week ago, so I don't have as much, but just let you all know that if you would like to, after the board meeting, I can take you through a hallway on concrete into the new building addition so you can see paint's being painted, ceiling tiles going in. You can see a lot of work that's being done. If you guys would like to do that tonight, just to do a quick walkthrough, I'll be glad to show you what has taken place in that building, because sometimes it's just good to go see it instead of talking about it, look at a picture or paperwork. But I'll be more than willing to do a show and tell tonight. The other thing I have for you guys, now when I pass this out to you, you're going to be chewing on this. It's a proposal, so just, okay, that works. Everybody take one and pass it down. The paperwork that you're looking at is going to be in regards to maybe doing something that would be better than having trailers in the back part of our parking lot area, because once we have a new building back there, we're going to have a nice parking lot for people to go into our gymnasium or into the school hallways, depending on which part of the building you're going into. Having said that, talking to Reno Medical, they are proposing, instead of having the trailers back there, that they could be housed within our, it's the current classroom that we have, a CTE classroom. Before that, it was the LPN classroom for the adult ed students. So basically, since we're having our middle school kids going to the middle school building, these kids can go back to where they were. We can make sure they have a good classroom to have their CTE work done. And then Reno Medical is proposing to renovate the inside of this current room and make sure community people can only go into the arrow that I'm pointing to at the top of the page. And the students, you can see on the bottom left, would enter into the area that way. Between the exam room of exam room 3 over across there to the other side, they are going to make sure that nobody crosses to the student side or the adult side. So that means if someone would come in that needs to be seen from the community of Summers County, that students would not be intermingling with people outside the community. Right now, our kids, when they go to Reno Medical, they have first priority and our staff do too. But if a community member, let's say one of you would go in, you would go into a waiting room and you could possibly be with other students. The restrooms you can see to the right-hand side would be for all the adults, which would also include the providers who from Reno Medical. To the left, we already have restrooms there in that hallway. So our kids would never leave the campus at all. Right now, they go outside. It's worked out well, don't get me wrong. But now we'd have it all housed in the building. They would still use their internet connectivity. They can't use ours. But we would be providing, obviously, the heat, air, and the electric and all that stuff. But we would not have trailers out on the back side of our property. This is a proposal. They would incur all the cost. And if we move forward with this in the future, they would like to do renovations as soon as, school's out to do those renovations. But that can't be done without getting board approval. This is for you guys to chew on, look at. But they had a guy talk with, what was that guy's name, Chad? I can't remember his name. From Reno Medical.
Jason, name's Jason. I can't think of his last
He
name.
does all the work for him. Everything in purple would be drywall that they would put up to separate. And then we would make sure that nobody could mix with our kids. And
What's currently in this location?
that would be,
Where's that at on this
oh,
A, B, C, D,
oh,
E? Is it
okay.
not part of
No,
this?
It's not, it's
do you
an
know,
old LPN classroom, if that means anything to you.
okay, do you know where Susie's red barn is? The community schools barn, that red barn, and that sidewalk that goes up into a
So it's
doorway?
right next to the Pro Star.
It's right there.
On our other side of the wall.
It's on the other side of ProStar. So if you see Casey Serball's room that I have labeled there, it would be a adjoining room to that. A block would be separating those two.
So what is this currently used for?
This is our current CTE for our nursing program, but before that, it was the LPN program. We pushed this program over because of the middle schoolers being in the facility. Once those middle schoolers leave, we're going to have a lot of room to create space for other classrooms for the high school. One thing I'd like to do, working with ARH, I'd like to make renovate a STEM lab for the high school. Because once you see the middle school STEM lab, and we've got STEM labs for the elementary, high schools all look pretty anemic now. And so ARH, talking with Mr. Melbourne, he said that's a possibility to maybe call it the ARH STEM lab. That'd be great for them to help us renovate maybe in that area, because we are going to have a lot more room moving all those middle schoolers over to the other side of the building. So this is a proposal for you guys to look at. And if you'd like to go and walk into that room and see what we're talking about, we can do that as well. But
So currently, this is the health technician.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
where will that move to?
that'll go back to where it either used to be or into the other classrooms that have been vacated to give them a lab on one side and a classroom on the other. Like I said, this is a proposal. No money's been exchanged, no contracts, nothing. But if we move forward and we say, you guys renovate, it's all on them. They pay for everything. They put in the stuff, and it's on them.
We'd probably they would want a contract of, they can stay for however long. I'm sure they wouldn't just do that without being guaranteed they could stay.
I don't know about that, but,
We're thinking alike.
well, this is just the tip of the iceberg, because I wanted them, I just don't know that I want trailers out back anymore. Once you get a new facility and get it cleaned up, it's nice. The other thing is I'm looking at student safety, to keep them in the building. They can get to somebody to see real quick and move forward. But this is a proposal to look at and chew on, and we got plenty of time to discuss this.
I don't want to put a whole lot of load on Kevin. I'm sure he's got plenty to do as it is, but if there's any way to look ahead, this class will be here and this class will be here, to kind of get a real feel of what space might be available for the different options.
We got plenty of room and time to think that through, but I want to do that where we all walk through there where nobody's in the building, hearing conversations that might not happen. Because if you start talking while people are around, they're going to think, oh, they're going to do that. Before we get Dr. Green and his team on board, we have to walk through the building with the people that will be moved. Because those are the ones we have to talk to
Here's
about
a
it.
thought. I mean, we don't have to be in a hurry. Let's get the middle school done and see what we got. Go from there.
Well, we do kind of have to be in a little bit of hurry as we move forward with renovations, if we're going to do renovations. And the trailers are in the way right now. So we might have to move those around. If we're going to keep the trailers, we'll have to talk about moving them around a little bit. Because now they're literally in the middle of a parking lot.
My only thought is, in the event we were to get another CTE program, are we giving up space that we could potentially house another CTE program in?
I don't think so, because we just put almost 300 some to 400 some students, 6, 7, and 8, and we shoved them into that building. And technically speaking, we didn't need to add on a middle school, but you had to work that one to get that to happen. We're gonna have a lot of space. We're gonna have plenty of space. But we have to also see, let's walk the building and let's see, subtract these classrooms. Where are kids right now? We have to also look at our special ed population where they're sitting too. So this is a proposal on this part of the building. Now we gotta talk to the other people that are involved with it as we move forward. We got some time there. This is just a proposal right now. No money's exchanged, no contracts, nothing's been
My
assured.
questions probably sound negative, and I don't mean it that way. I just want to make sure our students are taken care of before we worry about Reno Medical.
Well, Raynell Medical is taking care of our students and our staff. It's a 2-for-1.
You know what I mean?
I guess I don't know what you mean.
I want our school to provide space for our students before we worry about Reno Medical.
Okay.
Space.
We
That's what
got
I'm-
that. That's why I'm saying this is a proposal. It's just the tip of the iceberg. We're moving.
I mean, it might all work out, and I hope it does. Just-
Yeah. Thank you. That's all.
Okay.
Those 2 things.
Item 12, discussion of next agenda. It'll be December 21st, 5 PM here. This will be the last meeting of 23. Any agenda items?
Have we met all of our deadlines for the year? You know how we always have a deadline calendar. I hadn't looked over it lately, so we've met every. Do you know?
My knowledge, we have.
Okay.
Yeah,
You have.
there is it's a huge calendar.
I know.
Because I think when it was originally created, School Board Association. What's his name?
Jim Brown?
No,
Howard
Oh,
O'Connell.
Dr. O'Cole.
oh, yeah. school.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a long day for me. Dr. O'Cole sat down and he went through all the West Virginia code, and he wrote a very extensive document with deadlines in it. And so I've tried to go through that in periodically, and as something comes up, I stick it in my calendar with a
Mhm.
reminder a few
Okay.
weeks out so that and then, between that and the board office here, kind of watching things for us too. So I think we have.
Okay, good. I hadn't looked at it
Yep.
for a bit. So.
All right. As always, if you do have any agenda items,
I think we could probably put the Panorama survey updates
thank you.
onto that next calendar or next scheduled meeting.
Let's go ahead and put, let's put discussion regarding the levy order,
Okay.
because we're getting close to that. Is it January?
Yeah.
Cassandra, is that we need to let them know. So we're getting close to that. So let's put that on there as well. Okay, so we have 2 items. As always, if there's anything else, reach out to myself or Mr. Warville and get that added on. Mr. McBride, you're up.
All right, I make a motion we adjourn. The time is 6:50.